ladies. All right, I had a few minutes before I have to hop on to a call. So I just wanted to quickly hop on here super duper quick and talk about the heat and how it's getting hot. I've gotten a few texts recently about, it's hot now and some spots on your face are getting more oily. So what do you do? Because I don't like to recommend like a ton of extras when you first order. So if anything ever comes up where you're like, I kind of want to cover this, or like this spot's getting oily, just let me know. And we can talk about what you can add to enhance that. So the first thing I want to talk about is your Perfector sponge. So this is actually big sized. I've already prepped it. And what you want to do to prep your Perfector sponge, I did not know this, and I really didn't like the Perfector sponge because it was taking off like all of my makeup. Little did I know until I talked to someone on our team who is a licensed makeup artist and does a lot of beautiful brides, that I was actually not wringing it out enough and it was way too wet, and that's why it was taking off. Like I thought that I got it just right, but like really you want it to be like only a tiny bit damp. So what you do is you put it underwater and then you wring it out. So wring it out really good. I can't do it over my camera because it will like get everything, but wring it out really good. And then put it into a cloth and roll it and wring it out again. You want it to be wet and like a little bit of damp so it, expands like it should, but you don't want it to be wet. And then just let it sit. That's what I like, sit and do the rest of your makeup. So let it dry a little bit. So if you don't have a Perfector, I definitely would grab it. I have found a new love for it and new uses for it. So one thing you should do, especially now when it's getting hot, is take your setting spray, spray your Perfector, and use your setting spray as a primer. You just dab it on. It actually feels so good and so refreshing. I love doing this. And mine's the old bottle. I need to get a new one. So use that as a primer. Use this as your base. Or use another primer. If you already have a primer that you like, use your primer. Like you'll definitely, in this hot months, are gonna wanna prime. So take that Perfector, set it aside on your counter. So that is step one in helping your makeup stay in the heat. Prime with a primer, or use your setting spray, which I really like doing as a primer. And then you can go ahead and do your hack. So I'm also going to show you that you should use a different brush in the summer too, so you have lighter coverage. First, I'm going to quickly pop on my Aspen using my same brush that I usually use, because I do still want to cover that red. So I'm just moving my brush around, covering that red. Got a little blemish down here that I want to cover up. Look at the redness disappear. I usually do around my mouth because I get like little blemishes, and then I do the redness on my cheeks. Again, if you have red, it's coming through under the highlight. Let's talk about ways to color correct that. And then sometimes I put it on my sunspots. I kind of stopped doing that as I wasn't loving the way the highlight was looking on top. So I'm still trying to figure out my best method for sunspots. I'll keep you posted. Okay, so that's just Aspen, ladies. Isn't Aspen amazing? It's awesome. Okay, so then what I want you to do in these hotter months, I want you to get the blend brush and use that because it is a lighter coverage brush. You'll pick up much less product. The beauty of this product is use so little, especially when it's hot. Use little. You only need to put it like where you need coverage. Like don't put a ton. You don't need a ton because it is just going to blur out the, imperfections, which you feel, which may not even be imperfections. I shouldn't even say that. It's kind of weird sounding. It just kind of blurs it out. So you want to use very little product. This blend brush is awesome for that. So put it only where you need it. I'm just looking at my mirror. Like I can already see, because it's summer, like you just need like really light coverage. And then still using your blend brush, dip into your brightener highlight and pop that on under your eyes. I always put very little product under my eyes. So again, I am using the blend brush because I want very light coverage in this, what's starting to be pretty hot weather everywhere. Oh, I just poked myself in the eye. Okay, and then I'm gonna brighten the center of my face, and that is it. And then I'm gonna take my fluffy brush and I'm gonna blend that in. So this is very, I'm just gonna look at my mirror up here really quick. Look, you can still see I get a flawless finish, but I am using very little product. Use less. Less is always more with this makeup. Every time someone says they're feeling oily, I always tell them to use less. Okay, so now you got that going on. Then you could pop into, you can even use your contour. Some people use the small side, like a light contour. I've actually never tried it with the small side, but it actually works really nice. Put a little contour on. Put a little on my forehead. Oops, I totally went down too far. Didn't mean to do that. Remember, I'm gonna blend, so don't worry about the harsh lines. And then I put some under my chin. Don't fret, I'm gonna blend. Putting a little more on my cheeks. If your contour isn't sitting right, melt it down. Mine wasn't sitting right, and it makes that difference. Okay, so I just stuck on contour. Again, with that same blend brush, which is your best friend for these summer months. Well, it's not even summer yet, but you know what I mean, when it's hot. Okay, and then you can even, if you want to use the blend brush again, I wouldn't do the contour side. I just popped out one of my tins by accident. Gosh, something always happens during these lives that's like some random thing. All right, which pretty color should I do? Let's do Frenchie. Frenchie is really pretty. So again, I'm using that same blend brush and I'm just popping a little on my contour line. Popping, popping, popping. Again, very light coverage using this blend brush because we don't want a lot of coverage for the summer. I'm just gonna kind of mix that back in. Okay. All right, and then you could just pop on a little eyeshadow. I kind of got into more than I anticipated here. Okay, here, let me just grab one of these brushes and pop on. I'm gonna pop into Cupcake. I always use that as a base. I'm gonna use my smudge brush because it gives a little bit thicker coverage. So I'm just gonna cover up. I get like a lot of darkness in my eyes, so I like to use Cupcake first as a base. And then you could also pop on, since I wish I could find my right brush. I grabbed like all my brushes out, but I didn't. Here it is. Here it is. All right, and then let's pop into, I don't know, let's just put on a little Valencia. So totally neutral. Valencia is a pretty color, is like a one color. I do it all over, and then maybe I'll pop a little Crush on top. All right, what I actually meant to do is just show you some troubleshooting tips, but then I started getting into everything else. Okay, so I'm putting a little Crush, a little shimmer. Okay, so now you have this like sun-kissed glow. So again, I used such little product because It is getting hot and you don't want a ton on your face. Okay, so then after you've done that, then the next step you would do, so any areas that you feel like you're gonna get really oily, like your T-zone usually, like mine's usually like around my mouth, I will then get the powder power brush. It's great, if I can find mine, because it has this little kabuki end that really picks up the vanilla dust well. So I recommend using either Vanilla Dust, which is our setting powder, or if you want like a more translucent, I really like Laura Mercier's translucent powder, which you can just get the mini size, which I have as well. It just looks like this. And the mini size lasts you a while too. You don't need to pay the $40 for the giant size. Okay, so take the kabuki side, and I usually dip into my Vanilla Dust. Remember, it's going to make it matte now, so you don't want to really dig into like this whole side business. You want that kind of nice and dewy. And I usually put it like anywhere, especially when wearing a mask, that I'm going to wear a mask. So I'll put it like all along here and like anywhere that I might get oily, and it really does help. I don't usually get oily in my T-zone, but if I did, you could put it up here too. If you want more of a translucent look, a trick with the Vanilla Dust is you can take the spoolie end and just scrape. It's kind of hard to do. Okay, see how I scraped it? Oh, it's hard to show you guys without it falling out. Okay, so see how it's now like off? So I made it like a powder, and then you could again take that kabuki brush and pop it on. Okay, so that is another troubleshooting tip for oil. Definitely grab Vanilla Dust, or if you have a setting, like another translucent setting powder, use that. Then go back to that Perfector sponge that you had prepped, wring it out. Again, I'm telling you, do not let it have a lot of water on it or it won't work, which is what I found out the hard way. Okay, grab that Perfector sponge again, and you can either take your setting spray and spray it in an X on. Some people don't like that because it shoots out really fast, or you can just put some on your Perfector sponge, and then you want to set that makeup. And this is picking up any excess product, especially around under your eyes, because you don't want a ton of product under your eyes. And then that is setting in your makeup. And it just like blends it in, makes it nice. But again, do not make it too wet, or that will totally screw it up and it won't work. I used this on Saturday for my son's communion. I did kind of like heavier coverage, I think a little bit heavier than I anticipated. But you know, it looked really good in photos, but then I found out later in the day that it was kind of like a little bit like kind of creasing a little bit under my eyes. So I just took my Perfector and just dabbed that in under my eyes to kind of like press that in. So you're just pressing your makeup in, getting it to stay. If you're going to be in a really, really humid climate, you probably want to bring out the big guns. This is Urban Decay All Nighter. It works really well, but it has alcohol in it. So it is drying on your skin. So don't use, it's definitely not like an everyday setting spray. For everyday setting spray, use our setting spray. It feels good, it smells good, like it's awesome. If you're like having like a special occasion, I'm using this for a wedding coming up, which is why I actually wore it on Saturday to kind of test it. And I realized it really dried my skin a lot. So that's one of the reasons that I definitely like wouldn't recommend it for everyday wear. But if you have like a special occasion coming up, bring that out, you know, and use that, because that works really well. And that's really it. So again, if you have any, you know, any little, I almost dropped all my shadows, anything has started coming up, like I have gotten a lot of questions about oiliness lately. I'm just going to pop a little, this is Cindy, which I love. Great pink gloss, really pretty. Just popping that on real quick. So anyway, hit me up with any questions. Those are just some tips on you know, keeping your makeup on, and especially when it starts getting hot. Again, if you don't have the blend brush, grab it for summer. This is a great brush to add to your arsenal. I just did my full face. It's a little bit hard to see on video, but when I look in the mirror right here, like you can still see that I have makeup on, but it's much lighter coverage, especially in the heat. So blend brush, Perfector sponge. Oops, I'm dropping mine. Perfector sponge, grab that, and then grab a setting spray. That's actually different. That's a toner, it looks like, but I have the old bottle of setting spray. So, but that's what the bottle looks like. And I think that's it. Oh, and vanilla dust. Grab vanilla dust and grab a powder. Oop, I did drop everything. Grab a powder power brush, which I think may still be on clearance. Check it out. I'll look after this. All right, well, everyone have a fantastic day. I am off to the next thing, and I will talk to you soon. Text me, message me if you have any questions. Thanks for watching. Bye.